What if we misunderstood the story?
What if the reptilian
Was never an alien?
What if it was a description
Of a certain kind of mind?
People talk of reptiles hiding in plain sight, shape-shifting through society under cover of night. But what if the story wasn't meant that way? What if it's something we still see today? The oldest part of the brain beneath it all, built for survival before the rise and fall. Scientists call it the R complex today, an ancient system that never went away. Fight, feed, dominate, territory and control, old survival coding buried in the soul. Now imagine if that system took command and the higher mind slipped out of your hands. No guilt to carry, no weight to bear, just calculation moving everywhere. Would it look different from the tales we've heard? The serpent kings hidden behind their words, not creatures from the stars above.
What if we've got it wrong? What if we've got it wrong? Maybe the reptile's not from the sky. Maybe it's hiding behind the eyes, behind the marks, behind the smile. Something ancient's been here all the while.
They say reptiles change shape to blend right in, but some people do the same with the skin they're in. A different face for every room they enter, always protecting what's at the center. Charm when it's useful, kind when required, whatever role serves the desire. Reading emotions they don't truly feel, learning behavior like a business deal. And maybe that's why these stories remain, different words describing the same thing. The language changes but the pattern survives through every culture and every time. When people point to power and whisper reptilian, maybe they're sensing something but naming it wrong. Not creatures from the stars controlling mankind, but the R complex dominant in a certain kind of mind. Cold ambition, no inner guide, a predator mindset dressed in a suit and tie.
What if we've got it wrong? What if we've got it wrong? Maybe the reptile was not from the sky. Maybe it's hiding behind the eyes, behind the mask, behind the smile. Something ancient's been here all the while. What if reptilian was never a species? What if it was a symbol?
A warning
About what happens
when the R complex takes the wheel,
and the higher mind becomes the passenger.
Maybe we all have both sides inside, the part that connects and the part that survives. One searches for meaning, truth and light, the other just wants to win the fight. But what happens when balance is lost? When power becomes worth any cost? When every person becomes a tool and every relationship becomes a rule? Maybe that's what the myths were trying to say long before science explained the brain. Not rulers arriving from distant stars, but a state of mind that can take us far from who we are. And maybe the real question isn't, do reptilians exist? Maybe the question is, when power calls your name, which part of you answers?
What if we've got it wrong? What if we've got it wrong? Maybe the reptile's not from the sky. Maybe it's hiding behind the eyes, behind the mask, behind the smile. Something ancient's been here all the while. What if the reptilian
Was never an alien,
What if it was humanity?
trying to describe psychopathy.
Long before psychology had a name.